Without Warning is a 1980 sci-fi horror movie about an evil gray alien who goes around stealing people's blood with starfish. Without Warning is a movie of the week that gets interrupted by a news broadcast covering the end of the world.
I'm saying that what we've seen tonight is unnatural.
If you've ever tried to look up one of these movies, there's no way you weren't recommended the other at some point. There are two other movies called Without Warning that released earlier, but I wanted to focus on these ones because it's October and it seemed like a good enough idea for a Halloween special on paper. A movie that took 2 years to write and 3 weeks to shoot, with a screenplay credited to 4 people and from the director of Uninvited and Satan's Cheerleaders. The film is about an alien stalking and killing in the woods. His victims include ditzy young adults, a scoutmaster, and a sober Cameron Mitchell. Yeah, they actually got him to stand up for this one. Whose bodies he stuffs in a tiny shack.
What the hell are you kids doing in here?
If it means anything to anyone here, then it might be shocking that Jack Palance and Martin Landau have starring roles here. These are 2 Academy Award-winning actors, and they're appearing in this very low-budget monster movie.
Billy Crystal. God, I crap bigger than him.
They were allegedly paid half the movie's $150,000 budget. That's wild. Jack Palance, it doesn't matter what his character's name is a hunter, and he's absolutely thrilled at the prospect of hunting Megamind over here. Landau plays a schizophrenic veteran who's on board with the whole idea of aliens existing from the start.
I knew what was going on around here. I knew.
It's a low-budget affair, deliberately hearkening back to the monster movies of the 50s. That's what I assume, at least. The 80s was all about being nostalgic for the 50s. And cocaine. The monster here looking like a Roswell gray alien if it played basketball makes the connection obvious.
The Lakers are looking for a big man.
This is the early 80s version of the 50s B-movie. The late 80s version of this would be Predator, which is like one of the only really good versions of this premise. More on that later. But what's messing me up about all of this is that this movie took 2 years to make. Most of that time was spent in pre-production, but still. Roger Corman cranked out 5 movies like this in just 1 year. The main screenwriter, Daniel Grodnick, wanted to make something a little more thoughtful. Star Wars is directly credited as the movie that got the ball rolling on this project. By the way, can you believe that there was a time when people actually liked Star Wars? Anyways, in the late 70s, it was a big deal, and a lot of movies like Without Warning got greenlit because of it, in the hopes of being equally as successful. It's not fair to have the same expectations for Without Warning, a movie made with a fraction of the budget, but it wasn't trying to be much more than a alien kills people in the woods type beat. There is room for artistry here, and there is artistry here, but the premise is a little boring, and the movie itself happens to be a little boring, despite the genuine talent behind and in front of the camera. Yeah, this is one of those old horror movies that mistakes slowly walking through the woods for tension. I know it's not half the runtime, but it kinda feels like it. The dialogue here is pretty strange, too.
Don't give me that macho revenge John Wayne stuff, huh?
God, it's like one of my scripts. A comedy writer was involved at some point during the scripting process, and I wonder how much of that is in the final draft.
Our friends are dead.
What happened?
Landau and Palance do bring a good intensity to their performances, weird deliveries on these lines aside.
I'm hunting him, and he don't know it.
This doesn't seem like it was just a paycheck for them. I mean, it probably was, but they're still pretty good here.
You do as you're told! Your job is to take orders!
The look of the alien is uniquely retro. By the late 70s and early 80s, they'd be trying to spice it up. They'd get H.R. Giger to make it phallic, make it a pile of gelatinous goo that spits pus. They'd give it a buzzsaw and hook arms. But nope, this is the look they went with. Handsome Squidward. I like it. It's unique for being so simple. The suit looks great, too. The monster here is only ever seen in quick cuts or in shadow, and it's effective. The costume it's wearing was apparently made from a hammock. It's low budget, but it works. I swear, this movie is like a nexus point for all of these old and new Hollywood people. The alien design and the effects were done by Rick Baker and Greg Canham, both of whom would go on to win several Academy Awards. The alien itself was portrayed by the late Kevin Peter Hall, who further deepens this movie's accidental connection to 1987's Predator by playing the title monster in that one too. The alien's costume was done by Eloise Jensen, who you might not have heard of, but she was another Academy Award-winning person to get involved with this production. What's weird about that is that she was best known for doing the costume design for I Love Lucy. You know, that big boomer show you might have seen on TV Land or something. Not the connection I was expecting, but that just means Jensen got experience in all genres. Yeah, she's the one who put the hammock on the alien. The cinematography is pretty damn good in places too, and that can largely be traced to Dean Cundey. Yeah, they got him here. He previously worked on the original Halloween, and he would go on to film movies like The Thing, Escape from New York, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Jurassic Park, Jack and Jill. What? I know how it is. Get that bag. They cared extra hard about getting the ending to look good. The shots of the cabin in the fog and the silhouettes of the alien, it's genuinely great stuff. Yeah, this is a thick list of credits. All of it for a movie about a tall, gray alien killing people with jellyfish, or starfish. Work is work. Can't really complain. This movie is a unique breed. It's a rare instance where a low-budget creature feature has all of these big names attached to it, and they're all taking it seriously. Not exactly getting the glamorous Hollywood treatment, but its production history is way more unique than I thought. If it had been made later in the 80s, it would have been released direct-to-video, had its tongue so deep in its cheek it'd break the skin, and Cameron Mitchell would have been playing one of the main characters.
Hubba hubba boy, let's get with it!
At the end of the day, it's a goofy alien invasion movie. I could go on for hours pointing out how wild it is that it has the production crew it has and how much they elevate it, but it's very much not the sum of its parts. By all accounts from the mouths of the crew themselves, Graydon Clark seems like a fun director to work with, but the way he wrangled all of these elements into a motion picture just don't compel as a complete package. It's well shot, but the pacing makes it a drag. Landau and Palance give decent performances, but the dialogue is strange and the direction can be kind of odd, etc.
No help. No escape.
Without Warning is not without merit, and it has its place as a cult classic. I just think it's a little sauceless. I've worked on low-budget movies before, so I can absolutely sympathize with cut corners, but it means the movie is more interesting for its production history than it is for being entertaining. I can only recommend this one to genre fans. Sick poster, though.
A meteor shower, which appears at this time every year, erupted into a massive cosmic event tonight as pieces of an enormous asteroid plunged to Earth.
Airing the night before Halloween in 1994, Without Warning is a made-for-TV movie presented as a live news broadcast that depicts a sudden barrage of asteroids hitting the Earth. Things get weirder and weirder as the broadcast continues. Experts are consulted, reporters are baffled, and holy hell, that ending.
We've made no conclusions at this point.
Well, what are the chances that a random asteroid would hit and break up and fall with such precision?
No comment.
It was released on the 50th anniversary of the infamous Orson Welles' War of the Worlds broadcast, and the people at CBS wanted to play a little prank. Though it does have a million disclaimers in the chance people believed it was real.
What you are about to see is pure fiction. None of what you are seeing is actually happening. None of what you are seeing is actually happening. None of what you are seeing is actually happening.
And you're watching the CBS movie Without Warning, a modern-day War of the Worlds.
People did believe it was real, for the record. Not as many people to make it a national incident like with Orson's little social experiment. In all fairness to the panic Without Warning caused, the movie itself is so well done that if you joined during one of the times it wasn't obvious that it was a gag, then yeah, I can see it fooling someone. They got real reporters to act in the movie. At one point they interview Arthur C. Clarke. Makes it feel more authentic.
But nothing I've ever encountered could have prepared me for this.
Most of the cast is made up of actors though, some of whom you may know. Star Trek fans may be able to spot John Delancey, for one. I mean, I didn't. I got the kaiju hyperfixation instead. If you ever wanted to see the mom from Malcolm in the Middle cry live on air, well, here you go.
I'm just gonna finish up here, and we're all gonna be together real soon.
Harrowing is a word. This movie can get pretty harrowing. The production values aren't amazing, but they really don't need to be. The minimal showcase of the chaos through the use of B-roll is effective, and the cast reacts so convincingly. It also leaves a lot of uncomfortable details to the imagination. The foreshadowing here is great.
Why the government would need firepower like that at the site of a meteor impact is anybody's guess.
It feels like it's paced in real time, which is weird because it's actually not. At a couple points they say that events have been happening hours apart. It's done to make it more obvious that it's not real, but I didn't notice it at first, which I guess is how it fooled so many people. There is some light cheesiness here,
Figure maybe we could find us some enemies, smack some heads.
but I think the parts that matter are treated with the warranted seriousness. Despite how wild the situation gets, because it spent that first hour building up to the chaos in seemingly real time, it feels grounded. It's super unsettling.
It's getting too close, Sandy. Why aren't they shooting at this thing now?
3, 2.
This actually isn't the first example of a movie like this. In 1983, there was Special Bulletin, another American production where a newscast covers an incident where terrorists get an atomic bomb. And over in Britain, there is the now infamous Ghost Watch, which aired in 1992. Unlike this broadcast, there weren't many disclaimers saying it was fake, and since there are more people who believe in ghosts, it resulted in a lot more panic. For one person, that panic was fatal, but that's too tragic to talk about in this video. So yeah, there's a reason why Without Warning has 1 billion disclaimers before and after every commercial break. And for some people, they apparently did not work. The crazy thing is that Without Warning could have been the first. According to an article from The Companion, the movie was initially conceived in the late 60s. For whatever reason, it took until the 90s for CBS to make it a movie. Yeah, if this came out earlier when less people knew about the War of the Worlds incident, I think the panic would have been even worse. Your parents would have been talking about Without Warning.
Arm yourself.
There's an upload of this movie on YouTube that keeps the commercials. It gets hilarious as the situation gets worse and worse, and the commercials keep on trucking like nothing's wrong at all. I recommend watching the movie like this.
Matt, what is it? Matt, what do you see? Just tell us what you're seeing, Matt.
You know what it is?
Uh-uh.
It's Kellogg's cornflakes.
Kellogg's cornflakes?
Yeah.
Good thing I'm sitting down.
Yeah, check it out. It's an unconventional yet well-executed movie. It was only ever released on home media as a now out-of-print DVD, so YouTube is your friend for this one.
Gentlemen, I'm sorry, but we've run out of time.
So there you have it, completely different movies with the title Without Warning. I don't know what I was trying to accomplish here. I mean, I guess one is a really archetypical alien horror movie and the other is formatted differently. Goes to show how different a movie can be while having the same title. I guess? Okay, that's a reach. Anyways, enjoy the rest of October. Check out Without Warning, either of them, I don't know. Happy Halloween. Thank you to everyone for helping me continue do what I do. And here's a special shout out to the top patrons. Greninja Zack, Toku Simb, Old Metal Possum, Solid Lib, Dinosaurana, Kadorian, Scooter Jit, Lobotomy Blues, Cool Bell Zero, Johnny Hedgewolf, Eric Guzda, Janos Firewalker, Easterman, Sampai, Big Dumb Media, Navik 15, Jacob Hinch, Dude Bro, Alistair Gilmore, Seamus Kelly, Anonymous Euronymous 1349, Fujoshi Urinal, Grazio, Mulan Nguyen, Irrelevant 402, Hey I'm Mooney, Krazak 53, Queer Kaiju, Chronicler Waba, Alcoholic Alligators, Ryan Santa Cruz, Avok Robot, The Antagonist, Godzilla Rich, It's God Z, an actual Dimetrodon, CMG, Red Comet Harry, and Marpzilla. Thank you all very much, and a happy Halloween. I mean, if you're watching this, then it's like a month before Halloween, but shush.